You are listening to the audio production of His Needs, Her Needs, Making Romantic Love Last by Willard F. Harley, Jr., published by Abell, a division of Baker Publishing Group. This book is read by Abell. Preface. In 1978, I was asked to teach a 13-week course on marriage at the church I attend. The topic was, what must a couple do to stay happily married? The Christian education director tape recorded the course for me. Over the next few years, I used those tapes in my counseling practice to support the advice that I gave couples. One couple volunteered to transcribe the tapes so that I could give them to other couples in written form. In 1984, that rough transcription made its way into the hands of an employee of the Fleming H. Revell Publishing Company. That person passed it on to the acquisitions editor, and the rest is history. It was published in 1986 with the title His Needs, Her Needs, Building an Affair-Proof Marriage. Within 2 years of its first printing, the book became a bestseller, and it continues to be one of the most popular books on marriage right up to this year. It's been translated into 22 languages, and more than 3 million copies have been sold worldwide. Finding a publisher for this book was the easy part. It almost fell into my lap. The hard part had been finding the answer to the question, what must a couple do to stay happily married? Which was the topic of the 13-week course I taught at my church. Learning what makes marriages succeed. When I was 19, a married acquaintance in college told me his marriage was in trouble and asked for my advice. The advice I gave him did not help. His marriage ended in divorce. But my friend's marital failure started me thinking, what was wrong with the advice I gave? What makes some marriages succeed and others, like my friend's, fail? It was 1960, and I was about to witness something that few expected, the beginning of the end of the traditional nuclear family in America. Evidence of this social disaster accumulated over the next 20 years. The divorce rate climbed from about 10% to over 50%, and the percentage of single adults increased from 6.5% to 20%. While the divorce rate finally stabilized at about 45% in 1980, the percentage of single adults has continued to increase right up to the present. It is currently at about 50% and climbing because fewer and fewer people are willing to commit themselves to one partner for life. At the time, I didn't know that my friend's marital failure was part of a trend that was about to overwhelm nuclear families. I was unaware of new cultural forces that would threaten marriage as never before. Marriage counselors had it easy prior to that time because people simply didn't want to divorce, regardless of how unhappy they were. But now they were unwilling to tolerate an unfulfilling marriage. So if a marriage was to be saved, a counselor had to know what made marriages fulfilling for both spouses. At the age of 19, I certainly did not have that answer. Over the next few years, couples continued asking for my advice regarding marriage, especially after I earned a PhD in psychology. But I wasn't any more successful with them than I had been with my friend years earlier. So I decided to become a marriage expert. I read books written by the most prominent marital theorists and practitioners. I learned the latest techniques in helping spouses communicate with respect and understanding. I enrolled in a 2-year internship at a clinic that had one of the best reputations for marital therapy and was supervised by the chairman of the University of Minnesota's Department of Family Social Science. But even after helping couples learn to communicate effectively, I was still unable to save their marriages. Almost everyone who came to me for help either ended up like my college friend, divorced, or simply continued to be in an unfulfilling marriage. I knew about my failure because I was doing something that very few other counselors did. I followed up on everyone I counseled long after they had made their last appointment. I followed up not only with the couples I counseled, but also with the couples of other counselors in the clinic where I interned. To my utter surprise, almost everyone else working with me in the clinic was failing as well. My supervisor was failing, the director of the clinic was failing, and so were the other marriage counselors who worked with me. And then I made the most astonishing discovery of all. Most of the marriage experts in America were also failing. It was very difficult to find anyone willing to admit their failure, but when I had access to actual cases, I couldn't find any therapist who could prove that the counseling provided was any better than no counseling at all. Many of these experts didn't even know how to make their own marriages work. The clinic director divorced while I was working there. Many others had been divorced themselves several times. Marital therapy had the lowest success rate of any form of therapy at that time. In
Sample complete. Ready to continue?